Now, this whole entire case began because of an anonymous letter. When was that?
That was way back in 1997 by Pauline Rogers, who they don't want to use now because after doing it, they found out that she had already admitted and came over to our side and did affidavit videotapes telling the truth of how she was bribed, how they offered her money, the different things they put up throughout in Clark County, how her and Sakina Parham was meeting in the library with the constitutional general Bill Osinski and different things like that, setting these plots up. And so now that she didn't tell the truth, they don't want to use that. But the worst thing about it is the fact that that letter was said, if it made me such a dangerous person, when we read her 302s, right? If it made me such a dangerous person, Seals let me roam the street from 1997 to 2002 and leave all these kids in that danger because his statement was he didn't have enough evidence. So what by evidence he means he needs me to do more things. So basically he's saying I need him to do more things to children so I can get a stronger case. And wouldn't that endanger the children? So that shows right there that they're violent. That's called reckless endangerment. This man, he's a dangerous man. Damn it. And whoever worked with him on the case, whether it was Elaine Ward, Baskins, right, whoever worked with him in that period of time was saying it's all right for this dangerous man to roam the street from 1997 to 2003. And he's a danger to children. He's a pseudo-pedophile. He does this, he does that, he does that. But we ain't going to arrest him yet because we need to catch him doing things. So when we catch him, we can use that in court. They come up at the end of the day, and we speak down in court. Mr. Richard Moultrie stands up and says we have no videotapes of Mr. York doing anything with anybody. Oh, yeah, we have a couple of videos of him going in and out of Red Lobster. But they never mentioned right before Red Lobster we went into a Bible store and bought Bibles. That they don't want to tell people. They want to cut off what they want. But there's nothing me doing anything with anybody. There's no videotapes of me doing anything. No pictures of me with no children in any form or fashion. So if you've been doing this since 1997 and you're arrested in 2003, how's that possible you didn't catch me in any uncompromising situations ever in that period of time? How is that possible?
And if I'm not mistaken, they didn't find any DNA evidence and the medical evidence.
They found no DNA evidence. They took pillows and blankets and sheets and stripped them and had to admit there's no DNA. If I was performing all these illicit acts on this pillow, there would be some DNA. Sakina Parham's mother wanted to get up there and tell the truth about her daughter, and she has a lot of information that we have since put on a affidavit tape. And a bunch of other witnesses who he was trying to avoid getting on the stand. As far as Jake's sister getting up there and mentioning money, yes, these people were getting out. They was getting concessions already from the government. They was on the payroll. Sakina Parham was on a payroll. Jake York or Yaqub Muhammad was on a payroll. They was all being paid or threatened, one or the other.
Right.
And told if you do not cooperate with us and help us put this man away, and read what we want you to say, we're going to take your kids away and we're going to put you in prison. We want you to go out and we want you to recruit people. You go find these people, we'll pay for it, we'll fly you around. And we got the investigation, we pulled up the receipts, we pulled up the money tabs for the flights that the government was moving Sakina Parham here or moving another one here or moving there. All that's been accumulated, gathered to verify. Jake is now under investigation. Why? Because Little Kim is under investigation. Little Kim goes in the public because they're getting her for perjury, and then she's facing 30 years now. What's the perjury? She says in open record. Well, the people on the back of my album, they're the ones who was doing all the embezzlement. I didn't have anything to do with that kind of stuff. The person on the back of the album is Yorktown Records, which is Jake York. He calls himself, Big Papa.
Right.
And so that's the one that they're now investigating. Why? Because they're getting to find out that since his friends got on the stand in our case, but the judge wouldn't let it go public, but we still have it in affidavit tape, where they told what took place and how they planned outside of Atlanta, what houses they met in, when they met in these houses, who gathered, how they plotted, and they was we're going to take down this man because they was promised a whole bunch of money if they succeed in taking me down.
Favorable
concessions, what they said in the court. The so-called victims came to court on my behalf. That's why they closed this thing down. They got 4 people sitting there, and every one of them became uncredible. They found out that the girl called Belauda, who calls herself Crystal Harding, has a felony charge. She's in a federal facility locked down for possession of a deadly weapon and stealing a car. The children in the school in Athens have come forth, and they're starting to reveal who the boyfriend, his name is Eli, is the boyfriend of Safar LaRoche, and how he admits and they admit that she told them who took her virginity, just like she told her mother when she was in medical hospital, who testified on the stand, Pamela Roach, right, that her daughter told her she was still a virgin when she left the land, and said, before I leave, I want to go down and tell Baba goodbye, which doesn't sound like something you would say to somebody who molested you. And most of them had already perjured themselves while they was on the stand, because one of them said, namely, I think it was Safar LaRoche, that she lied to the grand jury.
Yes. Amanda Noel as well.
Another one admitted that her father had coerced her into it. Another one was taken from a mental institution because she's claiming to be clear. Her mother name is Nicole Harding, who got on the stand and lied and said I told her to launder money. That was never proved that laundered any money. And they lied to my my accountant who took over half for 30 years and so, well, maybe he
you are innocent of these charges?
I'm saying I'm totally innocent. This was a long-term plot with the restrictions that the community set up. Our philosophy is that they're not supposed to have sex until they're married. You follow? And that they're not allowed to drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes or listen to hardcore or vulgar rap or those things or wear explicit clothes, anything of that nature. We, as Native Americans, have a culture that we believe in, and part of it is modesty and modest apparel. You follow? These kids wanted to get involved because the land was so open, so they would see street kids come on, and the girls would have all this blonde hair and extensions and wigs and perms and the tight pants and all that, and they would be attracted to that. And that caused a problem. By the time the estrogen set in on these kids, you know what I mean, they started going to that teenage stage, they started rebelling, fighting with their mothers, sneaking up the hill, seeing boys and all kinds of things, and I just couldn't take it no more.
Now, why do you feel there is a conspiracy to have you incarcerated, either by the government or by what I understand to be those who left the tribe?
Okay, the children are tools being used by the state first. The government is also being manipulated by the state. The government stepped in, right, to do the state a favor, didn't know the state was lying to them. Howard Richard Seals and a handful of his cronies down in the Okemukee Circuit area, which is a bunch of, the lake people, a bunch of racists out there who've been racist. We've done research on their whole history. There's been clans and Confederates and Sherman marched through there, and they're trying to hold on to the good old boy mentality. They hated us from the day we popped up. So he just had to wait for the right time. He tried everything, from every kind of violation, from the doorknob is too low to the lights in the wrong place. There's no exit sign. And was closing everything as fast as we would build it. Closing as fast as we built it. Meanwhile, I had applied for my indigenous status. I could eliminate being involved with him at all. But I had to go ahead and continue dealing with it until the paperwork could come through. You follow? So he would block everything, and take us to court, and take us to court, and he would lose, and he would lose, and he would lose. And he would lie, and he would alter the permits, and then they just went on. When he realized that was not going to work, when that judge finally exonerated me, he had to come up with a good one, so he looked for the disgruntled children who have been thrown off the land for all kind of things that I don't want to discuss right now, and use them.
Now, is there anything that you would like to say before we end this interview that will make the public see your side of the story that has been blatantly misrepresented over the last 2 years?
The main thing I'd like them to notice is, why would they want to close the court if they have all this good filth, and the public loves filth, all this lust and all this violence and all this pornography and all this child molestation? Why would they be trying to hide that? They're not trying to hide the people because the people are not kids no more. Why are they trying to keep the public from hearing this case publicly? But I remember Mr. Bright, when he jumped on the case with the new indictment with 200 and something charges back about a year and a half ago, the first thing he said in the article in the Atlanta Constitution was, I want to make sure that everybody hears every detail of this case. That came out of Mr. Fred Bright's mouth in the newspaper. You can look it up. So now all of a sudden, what happened? Now all of a sudden they don't want anybody here. They want to hide down in Brunswick, close the court, select the jury, cable TV so they can edit away the truth. They're trying to hide the truth from the public. I want the public to demand, to want to see every detail of this case and monitor every detail so they can see that it's a lie. They don't want the public to see this trial. And if I thought I was such a evil man, why would I want my trial public? Shouldn't I be trying to hide this? As vogue as that sounds, with all that stuff they're saying, all that lust and all that sex and all that racketeering, would I want to have an open trial? Wouldn't I be saying, great, I'm glad they're having a private trial?
Right.
In fact, I'm saying, give me an open trial. I want the world to watch this trial. Tells you right there that I want the public to see it. And the fact that they don't, it tells you right there they have something they're trying to hide from y'all.
Right, and now throughout all that, throughout all the torture that you've been put through and things of that nature, now you're leading up to the court case, and it just seems from what I'm reading in the public is that now they're trying to violate your constitutional rights by allotting you a fair trial.
That's right.
And that's what this Judge C. Ashley Royal wanting to close the courtroom.
That's right. That's
what is that about?
Knock away my First Amendment right, my Sixth Amendment right, my Fifth Amendment right, and I think my 14th Amendment right. He's just trying to close the trial because he don't want the public to hear this trial. He's lying. He's saying he's doing it to protect the children, but there's no children in the case. So that can't be the real reason. So now, what is the real reason? To keep the public from hearing the truth. When we start presenting the videotapes we got, the pictures we got of these kids in their real nature, the fact, the letters we got, the actual witnesses we got who made affidavit responsible, was raised with them, who hung out with them, not the 4 people they're talking about, or the 5 people they're talking about, but another 50 other people who was there, their mothers, their own mothers and fathers, their own brothers and sisters, who is willing to testify that these kids is a plot for money. People who was a part of the meeting when they had the plot plan, went to Florida with them, how Jake and them transported mines across the state line from Georgia, bringing them down to Florida just to set up the plot. They're trying to hide all these facts, and the judge was helping because it's an embarrassment to the state of Georgia that went through all of this to find out everything they was doing was a lie. It was all a big plot. got tricked by a bunch of kids. But they're calling kids, of course, most of them in their 30s now, but they're calling them kids. It's embarrassment, so they'd rather let me fall and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And save